We are unwell. That is okay. Hi, I'm Stephanie. Welcome back to my channel. Allegedly Stephanie, formerly Wine and Chill. So I figured as a throwback, because I just celebrated my 35th birthday, we would have a little wine. And because the world is in chaos, so I feel like we deserve wine. And also because we had spring for 2 days in New York, and then it went back to winter. So I'll be having rosé to pretend that I am still in spring. All right. I forgot what the intro is, y'all. I'm so sorry. We are in April, which means I missed February and March. However, we are still doing better, and by we I mean me, than the schedule of last year. So every month, once a month, and I'm trying my best to stick to it, I go over how much progress I've made towards paying off my blasted 6-figure student loans. And I'm happy to tell y'all, I've made a lot of progress since the last time I saw y'all. All right, let's have a sip. Oh, this is good. Rosé from Provence is my favorite. The French do a few things very well. One of those things is wine. The other thing is cheese. And I'll give that to them. We will not get into a colonial history right now. But there is a Colonizer Exposed France on my Patreon. Did they get 2 episodes? I can't remember. Anywho, our agenda is going to be what I've paid so far this year. Yeah, because technically everything is retroactive. So when I saw you in January, we talked about what I paid in December. So now that it's April, we're going to talk about what I paid in January, February, and March. And we'll be up to date. And unfortunately, as we all knew it was coming, the long death of the SAVE plan, the SAVE plan has officially been ruled to be illegal. It was never illegal. But anyways, they are getting rid of it. So we're going to talk about next steps that you can do. And I am officially paying down my last student loan. I refinanced it. You can watch January's video if you want all the step-by-step about refinancing your loans. So we're going to talk about my first 3 months with the new private student loan company, Earnest, who I refinanced my student loan with. And so far, the UI is good. The user interface is good. They have some cool features on there. Do I like them? Can one ever really like a student loan service provider that is keeping you in shackles? However, so far I would say they are on par with, who was the original one I had? FedLoan. FedLoan, if one could have been a good student loan service provider, it was FedLoan, which FedLoan sold me and probably a lot of you to Aidvantage, and I hated Aidvantage. They didn't even have an app, just raggedy. Just very raggedy. So that is what we'll be discussing. All right. I do miss drinking the wine while doing this. I have been thinking, as an aside, we do have an agenda. I will be sticking to it. I promise. I think I'll bring back wine and chill as a concept and with some like pop culture commentary. Because I feel like that would be fun. We'll pour wine and, we'll discuss the Hot Mess Express that is our current pop culture landscape and how they are trying to slowly force feed you tidbits of white supremacy and fascism. Anyways, on to what I paid in January, February, and March. All right, so if you're new here, my starting student loan balance when I started paying off my student loans February 14th of 2020 was $304,680 and 17 trifling cents. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to read that number without feeling every trifling cent. We'll see. Now, the amount I paid in January was $4,816.99 hard-earned pennies. It was not an even number because I usually pay an even number because I was paying off my final student loan. Not my final. Oh, I wish. I was paying off my second to last student loan and the final student loan that I had in the public student loan hemisphere. And then I refinanced my final remaining student loan to the private student loan service provider, Earnest. All right, in February, I paid $4,600. Technically, $3,000 of the dollars that I paid in March was actually February budgeted payment. I don't know why I waited till like the first week of March to do it. I don't know what I was doing, but it was in the budget for February. I don't know what was happening on February 28th. Oh, yeah, our president decided that he would, illegally start a war in another country. That's what happened. So I had forgot to make that extra payment.
Life could be worse. No, not really. This is the worst.
This is the worst.
This is the worst. Yeah. Anyway.
In March, technically on paper, I paid $10,050.79 hard-earned pennies. So far this year, in 3 months, I have paid $19,460. This is astronomical. Wow. I really earned all that money and gave them people all this money. Okay, $19,467.78 of my hard-earned pennies. A smidge shy of my goal of $7,000 per month. That's what I have budgeted for. Sans emergencies and other stuff that come up, but pretty much on target. I will be paying these off this year. So, last time I saw you in January, my remainder for the month of January was $75,076.90. Now, at the top of April, my remainder balance is $56,889.02 trifling pennies. I'm in the 50s. This is wild to me. I'm really excited. I can actually see the end of the tunnel. Next week, this is April 3rd that I'm recording this, so y'all will see this next week. Shout out to Candace, my lovely editor. Next week will be 1 entire year that I have been back in corporate. And I'm proud of myself for seeing it through, for having good attitude, for maybe running a running joke with them that I only wear green. Listen, I had to pick like a very neutral color. I can't be showing up like this. I mean, I could, but then they ask much questions and I'm not trying to entertain that level of question asking. Also, get into my birthday earrings I bought for myself. These are from Lady Luck. They are custom. Didn't she do a great job? She was selling other masks. They are inspired by Dominica, which is a small island in the Caribbean. They wear sensei masks during their carnival. Not to be confused with Dominican Republic. Dominica is a whole separate country. And so then she sometimes will allow for custom requests. So I sent her like all my beautiful bright colors, including this, and things that I like. And then she made these. So these are my birthday present to myself. And I feel like they match me perfectly. They have a hibiscus and an anthurium on them. So her website is ladyluckconcepts.com. This is not a sponsored post, but I'm always there to support a Black business. Yes, ladyluckconcepts.com. Great earrings. Wonderful person. All right, because I figured y'all would ask, so here it is. And this top, if you've been here for a while, you've seen this top over the past almost 6 years. The channel has been here, which is wild. This is an OG top from Grassfields that I take very good care of my things. This top is like 6 years old, maybe 5, but yeah. She's held up really well. I've held up really well. I mean, happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to all the Aries. My birthday's in March. I'm OG first week of Aries. That type of Aries woman, you're going to get a very spirited, fiery type of person. So, sorry, back to the schedule. That brings my estimated total paid, and it is estimated because I have been tracking everything I've paid since 2020 when I started a serious debt-free payoff journey. Before then, I graduated law school in 2016. In the year of 2016, I did not pay my student loans. They put you in forbearance, I believe, till like October or November. I passed the bar on the first try. Shout out to me. And when they called asking for their money, I was like, what money? I passed the bar like I should have. I'm still looking for a job. And I did get a job that year. However, the kind people, which is why Fed Loan will all have a special place in my heart, were like, listen, we know you just got your job. That's totally fine. Since we already have in our system that you are unemployed and not working for the entire year, you don't have to make a payment. And that really helped my 25-year-old self. It really did. And then, I got a little fugazi. So there were a couple years hit and miss of where I was just dodging Sally Mae. And then I was also finally, Sense found me, and I was paying the minimum. I have never calculated that. I had an old bank account, Bank of America, trifling bank, that I haven't banked with in years. I closed that account. So there's no way to see how much more money I gave them. I would estimate this number is probably at least $10,000 off. There's probably at least $10,000 more that I've paid. So take that with a grain of salt. That brings my estimated total paid in, 6 years I've been actually paying this off since we are in April and I started this in February of 2020, $259,937.41 hard-earned pennies, which let the record reflect. When I first started this series and I was saying the amounts that I owed, I would literally end it with saying, this is a beautiful home with a pool. Now that inflation has skyrocketed, you could not buy a beautiful home with a pool with $259,000, which is a shame and a travesty and a policy decision. All right, let's get into the SAVE plan. So the SAVE plan is officially gone. Now, it should be noted, I started the refinancing process for my student loan, my remaining student loan, in December of 2025. It was approved and transferred over to Earnest, which is a private student loan company, in January of 2026. Why is the department, or what's left of the Department of Education, emailing me? I don't got no loans with y'all. And this is what happens when you defund actual federal agencies that were doing the work, which this current Orange administration has decided to do. So they sent me an email, as we can see here on the screen. Dear Stephanie, our records show that you are currently enrolled in the Saving on a Valuable Education SAVE plan, or have a pending SAVE application.
That is not correct.
Your records are incorrect. And they wouldn't be incorrect if you hired back those good people who are doing good work. Deep sigh. All right. Essentially, what is going to happen, because the dates are what matters to you if you are still on the SAVE plan, your student loan service provider, so whether that's Advantage, if you have a public student loan, a federally funded student loan, they will reach out to you. They are required to reach out to you by July 1st. After July 1st, according to Forbes, not this email, the email from the Department of Education didn't even include the timeline because, again, nobody works there, and the people that are in charge of what's left of the Department of Education hate human beings that want an education. Yeah. So, according to Forbes, after July 1st, you then have 90 days to transfer to a different plan. Now, the reason why this matters is, one, you don't want to get put into default because they may garnish your wages. They did threaten that, the wrestling lady, Linda McMahon, who is the Secretary of Department of Education. Surprising. They then didn't go through with it, but you don't want to chance it with them. If you need your check for important things like food, shelter, you think the government would know that. So the SAVE plan originally allowed for a few concessions. One was lower payments, the lowest payments possible that any income-driven repayment plan at the time had offered. It also offered after 10 years, if the original student loan balance, I believe it was either $10K or $15K, was the original amount you borrowed. If it had not been paid off in 10 years, they would discharge the loan for you, which this was super helpful for people who started college, started any type of graduate degree, but were unable to finish. A lot of those people fell into that realm of, hey, it's really the interest that's been eating me alive for 10 years. And that was a way to relieve that problem. All of that is going away. So now you will have essentially technically four options of plans. So there's IDR, the income-driven repayment plan. It calculates, from Forbes, calculates your monthly payments on your income and family size, with payments capped at 10 to 15% of your discretionary income. IBR, income contingent, ICR plans, and pay as you earn repayment plans are types of IDRs. So all of those are getting consolidated, I'm assuming, into just IDR in general. I think I had IBR, income-based repayment, before I had SAVE. Then there's this new plan that they're rolling out, which is called RAP, Repayment Assistance Plan. So that will be rolled out July 1st, 2026. Allegedly, according to Linda McMahon and her team, this plan helps prevent low-income borrowers' loan balances from growing despite making payments. Payments are based on the borrower's adjusted gross income rather than discretionary income. This results in a sliding scale of loan payments increase by 1 to 10% depending on your AGI. Now, people who love math way more than me, math is not my ministry, and we did a lot of math in the last video. I don't care that it was 3 months ago. I feel like I should only, be required to do math, that level of math. I was going to say once a quarter, and I was like, God damn it, we're in a new quarter. Twice a year. biannually. People that have done the math and shown the side by side actually saved the borrowers a lot more money than this wrap plan. This wrap plan will increase the minimum amount that you have to pay. Then last but not least is the tiered plan / the standard plan. The standard repayment plan, they've changed it a few times. I believe it's technically set to 10 years. So it says how long is it going to take you to pay off in 10 years, and then it just pushes you and then tells you like, okay, this is how much you're going to pay. The tiered standard plan, it will let you pick 10, 15, 20, or 25 years. Now, when you do that math, 25 years, if you sign up for a 25 years standard repayment plan, your payments will be lower on a month-to-month basis. However, the interest will mollywop you. The interest is what will eat you. The interest is the problem. The interest rates in this country are set by Congress. So yes, Congress, which is mostly boomers that went to college when it literally cost $5,000 in totality, which has always blown my mind. They have decided that 7.21, which was my highest interest rate, which is why I refinanced it, they have decided that that's okay. Australia has adjusted theirs, but Australia used to have a maximum interest rate for student loans at 2%. That is much more reasonable. Or no interest. How about that? Or, let's be very radical. What about free education? I'm a proponent of free education. Everyone deserves a free education. Honestly, the arguments against free education are from dunce people. And quite frankly, I don't particularly like living in a society of increasingly dunce people.
Oh, Jesus.
It should be noted that just having education doesn't automatically make you smart. George W. Bush did go to Yale, and he's not that bright. Dishonorable mention to legacy admissions, which they need to do away with. However, a curious mind, in my opinion, is a smart mind. And if somebody is curious and wants to go to school, they should have the tools and the ability to go to school regardless of their background and the income that they have inherited by simply being born. But I digress. So you essentially have maybe until September. It really depends on when your student loan service provider sends out that letter. So once they send that formal letter, hey, you're getting kicked off the SAVE plan, it's 90 days from when you receive the letter. Is the Department of Education going to stick to that? I have no idea. I don't even think they know. I don't think Linda McMahon really knows like what she's supposed to be doing. I don't think she cares either, if we're being honest. Better to be safe than sorry. I would suggest that you run the numbers against all three options and see what's the best option for you. If you're doing the debt snowball method, which is what I did and have been doing, paying off my student loans, which means you pay off the smallest to the largest loan. The reason being is you get the small wins from paying off the smaller loans, and you get endorphins, and happy people don't kill people. Shout out to Elle Woods. Getting those endorphins will keep you on the track of paying off your student loans. The debt avalanche method, where you pay off the highest interest rate, is technically mathematically going to save you the most money. It's about your money psychology. I forgot what my point was, child. It's been so long since we drank wine and did this. I can't believe I should just be drinking glasses of wine, breaking down legal cases. Young me had a lot of energy. Older me is looking for a nap, for what it's worth. If you are doing the debt snowball method, which is what I was doing. What I did when I started paying off my student loans and I stuck with was targeting one loan at a time, which means that you basically on paper, and in my opinion, this is what I did before the economy was in the hole, crashed. The price of gas, I'm so sorry. Big hugs to you car drivers. Shout out to New York City Transit. This is why I don't ever complain about the train. I love the train. I sit there and I accept it. The train should also not cost $3 one way. That's a separate conversation for Mayor Mamdani to undo the money grabbing, alleged. Is it alleged? I mean, like, there are receipts. Alleged money laundering of our former trifling wasteman mayor, Eric Adams. We need to get the fair price back down to listen, $1.90. $1.85, really. Anyways. Essentially, when you do the debt snowball method, you want your payment your minimum required payment to be as low as possible. So, for example, if we use mine, this is a really large payment, so it's not going to really make the best sense. Actually, let's just use a fake example, because I was like, my minimum required payment for Earnest now is $800 a month. My goal is $7,000 a month, which I've mostly been sticking to. The reason why you want the minimum payment to be as low as possible when you're doing a debt snowball method, and if you have multiple loans, because say the minimum payment is $200, something less scary than $800 is $200, but you have $1,500 of money to give towards the student loans, that $200 will meet your minimum requirement. So that way, whoever your service provider is like, okay, Jill made the payment, that's fine. And then you give the $1,300 targeted at the specific loan you're trying to pay off. Make sense? I haven't showed y'all this thing in forever. This is my debt payoff chart. There's only 1 star left to get. Exciting. So as you can see, I had 21 student loans to pay off. That's only because undergrad was giving me silly amounts. $1,239.41. Like $1,263.88. And you know, I was the drama, actually, because I specifically remember in college I had 3 jobs at one time. And then whenever I didn't know how to budget. And so then when I would just like run out of money or something, I would just go into the office and be like, I think I need another loan. Somebody should have sat me down. I only graduated college with about $20,000 borrowed. And honestly, that could have been 10 grand. I had a 75% scholarship. And again, 3 jobs.
Just my finances. Like,
what did I do with that money that I borrowed? I'm not going to lie to you. 19-year-old me really was just eating a lot of sushi. Eating sushi, and I can't even blame it on happy hour because girls drank free on certain nights. It was the sushi eating. It was a sushi eating and then like, I think random shopping. Yes. She was throwing fits that I look back now that make no sense whatsoever. But they made sense to 19, 20-year-old me. I was like, she's cute. Make better life decisions. But I say all that to say, if you have multiple loans, all they're going to do for your minimum payment is charge you the aggregate number, and then they will disperse it throughout all the loans. That is not the best way to pay off your student loans. You want to target one at a time. So for example, in our $1,500 example, you have $1,500. That means you're knocking out one whole loan in one payment. So that way, once you target it, then you can see the gains, etc. Which brings me to the fact that I am now paying off my last student loan. Did I cry? I think I did cry. I haven't cried in realizing that I'm in the 50s. I think once I get in the 30s, like 30K owed, I think I will like burst down in tears. I told my cousin, who is also my best friend, my first friend, we're only 4 years apart. She's also an Aries. Shout out to the Aries women. Aries Black women, I love y'all. I love y'all bad. Specifically. Where was I? Focus. It's the wine. This is why we don't drink anymore and do this. But I was telling her I owe $56,000 now. And she's like, oh my God, that's nothing. It's like a car. And to me, I've lived in New York now. I think we're going on year 12 as an adult. Born here, grew up in Miami, moved back for law school and just stayed. And the last time I ever looked at car prices, a car was like 30K. So again, big hug to the people that have to drive and have kids. I'm lifting y'all up in prayer because I don't know how you're making it. I say all that to say, now that I'm on my last loan, I'm very glad so far, 3 months in, that I refinanced my student loan with Earnest. One is because the interest rate, I'm saving money. So the rate on the last remaining student loan, the last one on here, was 7.21%. It is now 4.8%. And what I like is they show you this cute little chart. I'm 20% paid off this loan. I'm like, oh, great. I like to see my progress. This is lovely. They do have like debt payoff, like coloring things. I had like one that was a Dumbo. I love elephants. That was Dumbo with like a bunch of balloons. So every $1,000 you'd color it in. Those types of things, if you are just starting your journey, are actually really good for your mental health. Because then you're like, okay, I paid this thing off, I'll color it in. I did that for like some of my larger loans. And then I've kept this. Every time I've paid one off, I get a little gold star. Because, you know, one time for the academic overachievers that have been trained in life on gold stars. We are unwell. That is okay. I like that. And then what I really like that none of my federal student loan service providers ever provided was how much mother effing interest of my payment am I giving y'all? I like that they break this down. It should be noted that for almost 5 years, 4.5 years, there was an interest pause if you had federal student loans. That has greatly helped my student loan journey. If it wasn't, if we did not have that pandemic interest pause, I would actually have owed, I believe, another $10,000 to $12,000 per year. Per year. Of money I did not borrow. Oof. So, as we can see in this May 31st, not May, that's the future because we're in April. This March 31st payment, I paid $3,500. $3,357.30 of my hard-earned pennies went to the principal, and $142.70 went to interest, aka money I did not borrow. Now, while I don't appreciate any of it going to interest, I do like seeing that, like, okay, well, at least the majority is going towards the principal. So if you're interested in refinancing your student loans, I would watch January's video that has like a full breakdown of the math so you can see whether or not it's a good idea for you. If you are doing PSLF, public service loan forgiveness, you're not allowed to refinance your loans. They have to stay federal loans. So that's not for you. I always like to remind people of that. And if you're interested in refinancing, and you have decided, okay, this is good for you, and check every refinancing company and see who's giving you the best rate. 4.8 was a good rate. This was the best one for me when I checked. So that's what I got. If you decide it's interest, I do have an affiliate link. So you'll get $200 and I'll get $200. So I'll post that for y'all. Now go with whoever is giving you the lowest interest rate. It's about saving money. So yeah, I appreciate y'all. I meant to keep this at 20 minutes. It's 30 minutes. That's close enough. So I always like to end these with, how is your student loan journey going? And a big congratulations to everybody who in the past 2 months, I'm so sorry, I was behind, that has paid off their student loan. I'm super happy for you. I'm super proud of you. I hope you throw yourself a party and at least, do something nice for yourself. Shout it from the rooftop. Dishonorable mention to Dave Ramsey. He's a trifling person. He really did something with that debt-free scream though. I was like, damn, this is actually a great idea. And I will do it for myself. Maybe in Prospect Park. No, people would call the police. These gentrifiers call the police on anything. And now I'm going to be standing there explaining to the police, like, first of all, I have lived here almost a decade. How dare you aggress me? Second of all, I'm not allowed to scream, I'm debt free. Like, was that scary? Anyways. But I'm going to find somewhere to just yell it. Preferably on a rooftop, because I do enjoy a rooftop. So we'll see. But yeah. I hope you're doing well. Also, it should note, so we are at 2 more minutes. It should note, because this thought has really been crossing my mind multiple times. Because our government is dedicated to white supremacist, patriarchal fascism, and anti-coloreds, anti-everything, and is running amok in the entirety of the world and destabilizing the world in general. Paying off my student loans, I'm not going to lie, has been kind of like, damn, what if I make this last payment and then everything goes to shit? And honestly, I've given that a lot of thought. And at this point, I'm like, well, I can't control any of that. And the satisfaction I'll get from knowing Sally Mae, because Sally Mae used to call me and threaten me. And then me and the customer service people at Sally Mae used to argue. Which I don't know who's wrong in that situation, me or them. Because why are you acting like a McDonald's worker who doesn't want to give extra sauce? Which also you should be boycotting McDonald's. Don't eat from there. I haven't eaten from there in years. Anyways, but the example still stands. I feel like they were wrong. Anywho, if I've learned anything about these mother effing student loans, child, the apocalypse could happen and those people will find a way to send a bounty hunter to knock on our, I don't know what would happen in the apocalypse, our sheet of a door. So that's my only consolation. I don't know that thinking is correct, if I'm being honest. So however you want to deal with them, I completely understand. And I think, unfortunately, triflingness always finds a way to survive. And student loans are inherently trifling. So they will be like a roach and find a way to survive and bother us. And that is why I'm continuing to pay them off. On that lovely note, I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all soon. I may have, what did Aaliyah say? Dust yourself off and try again. That's what I'm doing. So my goal is to see y'all for the student loans in May. So I will be seeing y'all in May. I'll commit to it. And I need to buy a new live stream cord because my live stream cord has decided to go on to Glory. It doesn't want to work. And then we'll have either a legal or a pop culture or a both live stream as well on the channel, because I do want to talk about, a few things going on. So I appreciate y'all. I hope you'll have a lovely rest of your day, a lovely rest of April, and a lovely Aries season. All right. Bye.